So allow me to be the most stereotypical YouTuber ever and say, I didn't want to talk about this, but I genuinely didn't see a reason to talk about this story because it's boring. The story is literally just PewDiePie's Spotify got leaked, showing what music he listens to, and some of the music creators were pissed off that an evil white nationalist PewDiePie listens to their music, which I thought was kind of funny, but that's all it is. It's just kind of funny. It's not really something that we need to go in depth on. But upon looking into this story, I found a gold mine of a list. Pretty much every bad thing PewDiePie has ever done. Well, probably not everything. I mean, PewDiePie gets into so many controversies. This is probably just scraping the surface. But it is a list going all the way back to the Fiverr Death to Jews video, all the way up to the defending anti-Semites? ? Okay. There's a lot of interesting stuff on this list. And matter of fact, for the past hour, I've kind of been looking at each point on this little handy infographic and kind of just looking into it. And what I found was not a list that cements PewDiePie's career as gone or as canceled. What I found is a list of just ridiculous points that basically are like, well, PewDiePie did this thing next to this guy who works with this guy who's a neo-Nazi. And it's just kind of like, it's like guilt by association, but to the extreme. So I thought we'd take a look at some of these points. I mean, there are a couple okay points on this, I would say at least in comparison to the other much more ridiculous points and downright dishonest points. So I thought we would take a look at all of this. But before we do that, I just want to remind you guys, this guy, he left Twitter for a reason. Some might say leaving Twitter is a pussy move or a bitch move or something like that. I don't know, man. I kind of get it. I know I made fun of the quartering for doing it recently, but that's just because I thought his video was kind of cringy or whatever. It really had nothing to do with him deciding to leave Twitter. I think that, you know, if you're a YouTuber who is not relying on their Twitter account, yeah, you probably should leave. It's probably for your best interest. Twitter, at its best, is just an incredible waste of time. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. We can agree to disagree here. This is PewDiePie's Spotify account, and I'll go ahead and shrink my webcam a little bit just to show you guys the music he listens to. Now, some people were confused about like why this is even a drama or whatever. From what I've gathered, a lot of these artists are kind of like, it's like music like a lot of like woke Twitter listens to, and they're mad that PewDiePie, who they think is a Nazi, is listening to the same music that they also listen to. It's kind of like when everyone got mad at Joe Rogan for saying he would vote for Bernie because they think Joe Rogan is a Nazi sympathizer or something like that, and they don't want him to support their candidate. It's kind of the same mentality from what I gather, so kind of strange to me. I don't really understand it. One music creator that was apparently on the list was actually very unhappy about this. They tweeted, "Just woke up, found out PewDiePie listens to me and others. PewDiePie, please don't listen to my music. Okay, back to bed. I will mention this one more. We need a streaming block list." Yes, we need to block people from being able to listen to our music if we don't like them. Now listen, if you're a content creator, whether that be you're a musician, you do art, you do YouTube videos, you do live streams, and you are a popular artist at that, at whatever you do, there are plenty of people that are going to listen to you that are horrible people. I'm sure, even in my audience of 22,000 subscribers, at least one of them is probably a pedophile. Okay? I mean, just statistically, it's possible that at least one person that's watched me might be a pedophile or something like that. You know what I mean? And there's nothing I can do about that. It's just like a streaming block list. How is that even going to work? I don't know, but that's not what I want to focus on. Instead, what I want to focus on is this handy dandy little infographic for a little context on why Felix is a bad guy. Oh boy. Well, let's go down the list. A death to Jews. Hires 2 Indian kids from Fiverr to hold a placard saying death to all Jews, defends his statements claiming irony. This is in relation to a video where he paid people in Fiverr to do crazy and outrageous things. He found 2 Indian kids and he said, what if I wrote something really terrible like death to Jews? They would never actually write that, right? But they did. And it blew up into this whole big controversy. It was it was, I guess you could say, a moment of irresponsibility on PewDiePie's end. But obviously, anybody who watched that knew PewDiePie does not want death to all Jews. Still, there is legitimate criticism for what he did there, and that's okay. All right, I'm not surprised to see this one make it on the list. Next point, neo-Nazi shout-out. Shouts out neo-Nazi YouTuber who contemplated calling the black character of Death Note movie a... Can I even say that? Is that a real word? N-word lit? I want to say it, you know, just to read it off. I don't know if that's a real word or not. You can see it on screen if you want. As well as implied that the death of Heather Hayes was due to a heart attack, an excuse put forth by neo-Nazis at Charlottesville. Said YouTuber also spits anti-Semitic rhetoric on the far-right website Gab, removes links and claims the media are out to get him. So this is in relation to when PewDiePie shutted out ER, where people found out that ER has done some... I guess, dodgy things in the past. This seems more like a criticism of ER rather than PewDiePie. PewDiePie could have easily just seen like one video and been like, ooh, I'll shout this guy out or whatever, without realizing his background or something like that. Or maybe he did know about his background or whatever, and he just is fine with the edgy humor or something like that. Again, if you want to criticize PewDiePie for this, sure, I guess, but like, it's not that strong of a point, at least in my opinion. Next up, N-word controversy. I think we can easily breeze past this point. The controversy, 2017, PewDiePie was streaming in PUBG. He went on the bridge. He called another player the full hard R N-word, and that was that controversy. Definitely, I would say, you know, a heated gamer moment, a little slip of the tongue there. But yeah, you can definitely criticize him for that. Is he racist because of that? I don't think so. I'm sorry. Controversial Twitter follows. Okay, this is where it starts to get a little bit more juicy. So, this is a... Maybe I should move my thing to the bottom here. This is a list, or rather a screenshot of some controversial people PewDiePie not endorsed, but followed on Twitter. He follows them on Twitter. People that PewDiePie is following. It ranges from Paul Joseph Watson, Lauren Southern, Sam Hyde, all the way to Steven Crowder, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, JonTron, Stefan Molyneux, Ian Miles Chung. Okay, PewDiePie, I gotta be real with you. You're gonna take an L on this one. Following Ian Miles Chung, yeah, that is an L in my books. Fuck Ian Miles Chung. Dave Rubin? Wait, what? Is he even that? He's not even that bad, I don't think. Sargon of Akkad, Lacey Green. How is Lacey Green on the list? Isn't she like a feminist? Like what? Or maybe she stopped being a feminist? What? Okay. Chris Raygun. He's a liberal. What the? How is he even on the list? Okay, so basically it's a list of people ranging from conservative speakers to literal liberals and left-leaning people. That PewDiePie follows on Twitter, and this is somehow problematic because follows means you agree with everything people say. I follow way worse people on Twitter than PewDiePie ever did. If these are the worst people that PewDiePie was following, I just can't even begin to fathom how this is possibly an argument against him. I mean, this is just you're just grasping so hard for points, and it's just not happening. I don't know, man. Little bit of a stretch there. I don't know, man. The list continues into this other page. Immigration. Okay, so now that we might have, again, a legit point here, let's take a listen.
So welcome to System 3.
By the way, this is a video that PewDiePie made mocking E3 awkward moments of 2017, back in 2017.
Our story takes place before the birth of Jade, in a multi-ethnic, multicultural human society in a distant solar system.
A multi-ethnic, multicultural society. That's pretty cool.
But why is the country, Felix, such a crime-ridden dystopia, enslaved by corporations? Wow, what a weird coincidence.
Hey, you racist piece of shit! How dare you! God, I'm sorry about Edgar. Racist fucking dog.
Wait, so the joke is like PewDiePie's dog is talking about how having a multi-cultural, multi-ethnic society leads to an increase in crime rates, and PewDiePie's joking like that's racist or whatever. So the joke is that that's bad. Unless you could say he's subtly saying that actually it's a good thing and the dog is the right character, and that multi-ethnic or multicultural nations do lead to crime or whatever. If that's PewDiePie's actual take, yeah, I guess spicy take or whatever, but I don't know. It's not like he's like, is this like a red pill or something? Like he's like subtly like red pilling the normies or something like that? I don't know. I don't really look at this as like that big of a deal, personally. It's literally a joke. Like, the more I think about this, the more it just falls apart. I don't know. Strange. Donation to white supremacist. Knowing well before in the list of donatees, PewDiePie donates to the D-Live stream of Beardson Beardly, a known contributor to the Daily Stormer, a neo-Nazi website.
Oh my god, PewDiePie!
What's up, man?
Oh, dude, are you serious?
That's me.
3 Ninja? Are you for real?
Okay. So this is when PewDiePie signed an exclusive deal with D-Live, and he was donating to a lot of random D-Live streamers, and he happened to donate to somebody called Beardson. This is so bad too, because like I'm literally Twitter mutuals with this guy, so I'm literally like I could be canceled even harder than PewDiePie. That's where we're at now. Now apparently, according to this infographic at least, Beardson contributed to a neo-Nazi website called the Daily Stormer. I hear conflicting things about this website. I hear like one side say it's like a neo-Nazi website. I don't go on the site, by the way. I don't go on the site, I don't read it, so I don't really know. But this is what I hear from both sides, is that it's a neo-Nazi website, and then I hear from the other side that it's a satire website. Again, I don't really know, but I don't really understand what this has to do with PewDiePie. Again, just like in that other point, how it was more criticism of ER's actions and relating it to PewDiePie, it's a criticism of Beardson. How does PewDiePie relate to this? You're telling me PewDiePie is supposed to background check every streamer he donates to and make sure that they're not some evil Nazi or something like that? Like, he just found the guy on D-Live and donated him some lino. Was he supposed to know, like, beforehand? Like, he's supposed to double check triple check every little thing he does? Like, ooh, if I donate to this guy, I gotta make sure first he's not associated with any of these, websites or whatever. Like, that's an unreasonable expectation on PewDiePie. Again, it's more of a criticism on a different person, but then also relating to PewDiePie, like he somehow is indirectly funding a neo-Nazi website. It doesn't make any sense to me, man. Am I crazy here? Hold on now, we're almost done with this list, but I feel like there's gonna be some people who are like, Augie, you're missing the obvious connections, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, man, but I think it's reasonable to suspect PewDiePie might be, maybe center-right leaning in his personal life or whatever. I think that's reasonable to suspect. Given who he follows and some of the things that he said in this video, I think that that's perfectly reasonable. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about like a neo-Nazi. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit in the extreme step. And to call him that based on these things, this list right here. Anti-Semitic phrases. PewDiePie is seen blurting out the word sheckled, a phrase associated with Jews on neo-Nazi image boards / websites. The Twitch chat then started spamming more anti-Semitic phrases such as "Oy vey, the goyim no, shut it down," which on reading PewDiePie can be seen laughing at. Like, he's laughing at jokes, damn it! Like, what is this like? Like, it's like a mind reader game, It's like, ooh, you did this and this and this, and you did this to this guy who's adjacent to this website. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be something a little bit more concrete. Orlando nightclub shooting. Defended Pogo, a man who cheered at the Orlando Pulse shooting. Wait a minute now. Are you talking about this guy, the satirist who pretended to be like a homophobe?
He was a lot younger back then and had a silly, childish sense of humor and never really bothered to change it. Or is it because he actually hates gay people? Well, Pogo decided to answer that question.
I came up with Tron because I've always had a very thorough dislike of homosexuals.
To put this in context, he makes these live streams where he does random stuff, like he explained, randomly meditating or not doing anything. to dumbfound people. I'm guessing he thought it was so obvious that he's not a homophobe that he could make this sort of joke satiring homophobes, because that's really what it is.
So this guy who used to do a bit, his YouTube URL was literally youtube.com/Faggotron. That was his YouTube URL. He did like a bit where he pretended to be like a homophobe, and PewDiePie defended that. He also, I've seen this video before. Like, PewDiePie also criticized this guy for being like too like this, like almost being too real about it, to the point where it like deceives people into thinking that he's actually like a homophobe or something like that. Again, this is so far off from what the goal is. The goal is PewDiePie's a Nazi, right? Unless I'm mistaken, that's the goal. Or at the very least, a bad guy. Defending someone's right to satirize something, even if he got it wrong. Like, if that guy was like a real homophobe and PewDiePie like mistook him for a satirist or something like that, like that's just a simple human mistake. Oops. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I guess this guy probably made a joke about the Orlando Pulse shooting, and then they're saying PewDiePie defended him, saying he's like a potential, or he's like a satirist or whatever, something like that. Okay. This is cancel culture game. And then we get to the last one, alright? Defending anti-Semites. PewDiePie defended controversial live stream The Ralph Retort. Hey, that's a stream I go on sometimes. Whose channel was... See, I literally could be accused of being a Nazi easier than PewDiePie. If anybody knew who the fuck I was... Maybe I shouldn't say that. I feel like they could, like... Obviously, I'm not a Nazi. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like they could easily, like, fucking make it out like I'm, like, some fucking Nazi or whatever. I mean, people have tried before. Jesus. Anyway, The Ralph Retort, whose channel was banned from YouTube for engaging in Holocaust denial. That's not true. His channel was banned because Wall Street Journal wrote an article calling out his super chats, which had anti-Semitic messages in them. The channel also hosted a debate talking about the Holocaust, where somebody was like defending like the number, and then somebody else was coming on to debate some theories about, like, you know, how some things in the Holocaust might not have actually happened. Like, that's not The Ralph Retort engaging in Holocaust denial. And even still, PewDiePie defending that live stream, all PewDiePie said was like they have a right to host debates of that nature, to cover like those kinds of subjects. There's nothing wrong with hosting controversial people on your show. I mean, fucking, you know, fucking KKK people used to go on the fucking radio back in the 90s. You know what I mean? That's the list. And I think what we need to take away from this is the cancel culture game does not and will not work if you just simply don't give a shit. You could try, you could give the world's greatest apology, and it won't do shit. Because people who are out to get you will keep it up until they see you suffer. They see you lose sponsorships or ad revenue or deals with YouTube, or they just want to see you suffer for these perceived crimes that you have done. You know, at the very worst, PewDiePie has slipped up on the air, but he's not a fucking like Nazi or something like that. It's just people need to just stop caring about these types of allegations or whatever. Like, you think, like, people think they're gonna apologize and then all of this will just go away. Like, oh, I'm sorry, look, mistakes were made, and then it'll all just go. No, more will come out. This, like I said, this is probably only scraping the bottom of the barrel, the surface of the allegations against PewDiePie. This is just like the beginning, and it's never gonna stop. And the only way you beat people like this is if you just simply don't care. You know who you are, you know what you believe in, and your friends and your family and, you know, your subscribers, your audience or whatever, they at the very least got a good idea of who you are and what you believe in. And that you just got to keep yourself happy, man. You got to keep yourself happy. You got to be like, you know, question yourself, but don't buckle down to the pressures of the social media mob, because they will literally drive you to mental insanity, and they won't stop. They're relentless. Anyway, that's just this video. I wanted to go over this list because it made me chuckle a little, and I thought I'd just kind of point out just how much of a stretch some of these things are, just how like just how much of a leap in logic it is. Like, you are adjacent to this guy who is a neo-Nazi, so you're a neo-Nazi too. Like, that's not what neo-Nazis are. But again, it doesn't matter. You can explain this till the cows come home, but people will always try to keep you down. Anyway, guys, you hear the music. My name's UFC. I'm gonna get out of here. Kind of a heavy video for the channel, but I wanted to get some thoughts out. Anyway, catch you guys later, everyone.